everybody over here on Facebook. I am just after having a little chat with my Instagram audience, telling them that every Wednesday at this time I go live. In fact, I go live at 6 p.m., but for other commitments, I got a little bit delayed this evening. There was actually an accident in my local town, so we got held up and a few different things. So everyone's fine and everything's fine, and here we are 2 hours later than scheduled. Tonight, I got a very, very important lesson to talk to you guys about and to the Instagram community. I'm going to be talking about closing a gap, which is called the knowing and doing gap. So today is Wednesday. If you cast your mind back to the beginning of your day and you think about all the food you've eaten and all the things you've done from the very beginning of your day, all the actions you've taken, everything from the very beginning of the day till right now, you know that there are good habits and there are good practices that you could have done. You know how to do them. You want to do them, but you didn't do them. Okay. You also know there's things you've eaten. There's times that you've wasted. There's opportunities you didn't take. There's things you've turned away from because of fear. There's ideas you had that just passed through your mind you didn't take action on. You wanted to take action on them, but you didn't. Why is that? So there's things every single day that we really want to do and we don't do them. We want to do them. We know how to do them. We don't do them. There's things we know we shouldn't do. We shouldn't eat. We shouldn't get stuck in these draining conversations. We shouldn't be listening to energy trainers. We shouldn't be listening to criticism. We shouldn't be checking that email to see what it's going to say. When you think, you know what, if I don't point this out to my wife right now, it's probably a good idea. And this voice inside is like, no, just say it. Just say it. You're like, no, don't say it. Yeah, don't say it. You know you shouldn't. Then you say it. And 5 minutes later, you're like, why did I say it? Why didn't I just leave it? So it's called the knowing and doing gap. And this is right after our very first. When a client begins with us in our academy, for those of you who don't know me, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and you might not know me. I run a company, Declan O'Donoghue Consulting. Myself and my team create an environment for personal development in this country. And we teach material that was given to me by Bob Proctor, a guy I followed as a client. Really changed my life a lot from following him. So I became one of his consultants, and I teach a lot of what Bob taught me and a lot of the stuff that influenced him. And I picked up some other mentors and guides along the way. So we've created an academy which gives people an opportunity to have that accountability. Everybody out there is selling, look at what you're going to get. Look at the big shiny lifestyle you're going to have. And we don't hold back in saying that, the people who get that, they put the work in. From the very, very onset, we say, look, personal development, if you're changing your life from where you are right now, you're forcing against habits that you've built up over 20, 30 years and habits that have been handed down from your parents and even your grandparents, environmentally and genetically. So you really are, when you're trying to change your life, you'll always see the positive testimonials, and those people who've succeeded and other people you don't hear about, they all have gone through difficulties, struggles. That's why they cry when they get a Champions League trophy. They cry when they get the Oscar. They cry when they get their script, even after a doctorate. The people who we celebrate and applaud, and the reason they get emotional is they've gone through a lot to get there. We know that is a huge part of the distance between somebody investing in personal development and somebody getting results is the work that's required. So that's our main calling card. Is we provide 2 calls a day, Monday to Friday, where people can really have an environment to actually do the study, do the work that it takes to change your life. There's thoughts, feelings, and actions that need to happen. You'll talk yourself out of it if you don't have that guidance and mentorship and support and accountability. So that's who I am. That's what we do. And at the very, very beginning, people really need to define their goal. I welcomed a lovely lady into my academy last week, and she said, oh, I don't need, I have my goal already. And I was like, well, I still want you to go through lesson 1 for at least 7 days, because I believe we can really take that goal to another level. Get it expanded in her mind, but also get very clear on how to achieve it. So that's the very first lesson. I won't go into that today because that's not what this video is about. But the very next lesson after that is really where you really start to, I don't like this phrase, separating the men from the boys, but you start to really grade out people who, not that you grade out people, but you start to understand how far along somebody really is. They can often hit a wall on the second lesson. It's called the knowing and doing gap, because that's where you start to really see how habitual people are. They start to see how habitual they are. They really come face to face over the course of 7 days. I might make some people stay on it for 2 weeks just to really see how habitual they have been. Eating stuff they don't want to eat, and just getting out of bed, 10 minutes of scrolling on the phone, getting out of bed, not putting away their PJs, and, not having a shower early, and rushing at the last minute instead of spending more time. The knowing and doing gap is where you start to really look at how much we're kind of like puppets on a string. And I, you might reject that with so easily without having experienced it. And that's okay. You're entitled to reject what I'm saying. But what I would say, sorry guys, what I would say is reject that suggestion at your peril. Just if you don't believe me, just watch tomorrow and think back about today, that how habitual things have been. You get this craving for a food, you eat it. You're in a particular location, you sit in a particular seat. I promise you, don't look at other people, just start monitoring your own habitual things. Recently, my wife and children and I went to California for 2 weeks, and we stayed with my brother and his family. And we had such a fun time. It was the first big, long 2-week holiday we had since before COVID. It was the first transatlantic holiday. It was the first North American holiday. We loved it. And my brother and his children have a different routine than we do. They certainly watch a lot less. Well, we don't watch a lot of TV, but, it's a real outdoor lifestyle. So there was so much outdoor time. There was so much together time. There was a lot of breaking of bread, a lot of meals, a lot of barbecues, a lot of fun in pools and stuff. And as we were flying home, we were 2 or 3 hours early for San Francisco flight. And I said to my wife and children, I said, Daddy wants to say something. Just listen for a sec. And I said, just because we're in California and we've been having this really good fun together as a family of 5, we really got on well. You children got on well. It's been beautiful. That's not just because we were here. It's not just because we were on holidays. We chose to really just all enjoy ourselves, all be kinder to one another. We do not have to change when we go back home to our own environment. You're going to be going back to school, Daddy's going back to work, Mommy's going back to work. We can really put a lot of extra effort into the fun times and the crack and the fun that we have. And we've noticed that. But it kind of went like, when something drops into the ocean, it goes down, and then it gets its buoyancy. It goes up and down a little bit. It bobs a little bit. We saw the bob happen. So we came home, and within a few days of coming home, everybody started getting back into their routine, their sleeping routine. Like the 3 children stayed in their own beds in California. But here, they were like finding it hard to get sleep and waking up. They have been, we lived in a house for 5 years, and then we moved here to our new house. And throughout the 3 years, they never really kind of got settled. It was always, this bad sleeping habits. And none of that happened in holidays. It never happened actually last year in Lanzarote as well. But when we got back here, the subconscious mind remembers, and it has a pattern, and it has habits, and it guides us like puppets on a string. So they got into their habits again. And then I started seeing my daughter using her tablet a little bit more, my son having football on YouTube, and also football on his Nintendo Switch. And then my little girl just started getting into her routines with dancing and singing and stuff. And we just formed these habits. I started forming habits of, being on my phone a lot more. My wife started forming habits of doing her chores with the AirPods in, the laundry, the talking to friends. We just got back into the old routines, and we noticed it. And it was great that I kind of called it out in San Francisco, because now they're all like, okay, I remember what you said, Dad. And we all made a conscious decision to make the changes. This is what I do for a living, helping people, individuals and families and couples and businesses, to make the small changes necessary every day. And we've gone right back to, there's just a wonderful vibe. We've brought that 2-week holiday vibe home. The mornings are blissful. The dropping off to school is really enjoyable. The pickups, the homework getting done. We really really made the most out of it. Now, I'm only telling you my own story about recent to show you that how it kind of buoyed it up and down. It went forward and back. And I see that in clients. They want their goal, they love their goal, they're excited about their goal, and they make changes. And what Bob Proctor told me, a word, a paradigm, your old habits pull you back so blooming fast. You might even think about this if you're a gentleman watching this. I can really mostly relate to guys, obviously, being one, but you have friends that, let's say you're in a long-term relationship, and if you're going out with a certain friend, your wife or partner or whoever it is in your life will be like, oh, that's okay, that's fine. But then you've got that, that movie, You, Me, and Dupree with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, where he's that friend that you could go, like for me, for example, I went out one November a few years ago and woke up the next morning, not really sure where I was. It's this friend of mine, always gets the blame from me and from my wife. But I woke up in the morning with a selfie with the guy from Aslan, Christy Dignam, and I have no recollection of that happening. So he's that Dupree friend, you know, if you go out with him, anything could happen. She's like, you going out with him? All right, okay. All right, well, I'll see you Tuesday, you know. So why is that? Like, why is it if you go here, you sit there in that restaurant? Why we're so habitual? So the knowing and doing gap is where my clients start to hold this big, huge mirror up to themselves. Because one of the main bits of comfort that I will give to people when they're studying with us or whatever is I help them to stop blaming themselves. First of all, for, you know, oh, Declan, I'm the worst. Now you'll see. I'll be your most difficult client you've ever had. Wait and see. People are so hard on themselves because of their habitual nature. They start and stop. They try and fail. They, you know, they maybe earn loads of money and then it's all gone again. And they internalize that and blame themselves. I'm a screw up. I'm no good. Well, the relief that they get after a few weeks of learning from the other clients, learning from myself and my team, and just learning from their own experience, which is invaluable. They can see, my God, Declan, I was there and there was this absolute so-and-so. And normally she would get under my skin. Like, she always knows just what to say. And I genuinely experienced everything I hear you and the clients talking about. Like, I could see her BS coming up the sideline, her drama, her bitchiness, and I just was like impervious to it. It was like I paused it. We talked about this last week in my weekly call, the power of pausing it. She was like, I was able to see my reaction almost like just not be there and just go, I'm not dealing with that today. How does this work? How does this happen after a few weeks of just doing a couple of lessons? So we think that we think, but we're not trained how to think at all. We're trained how to learn and repeat, pass the exam, listen to the media, go by what they're saying. But when you genuinely start thinking about what it is that I truly want, how do I want to spend my days? Who do I want to spend those days with? How do I value my free time? How do I value what I put into my body? How do I value what time I go to bed? How do I value my appearance? When you start really prioritizing yourself once and for all, like, we're barely doing that. We leave secondary school, we start college. We're barely starting to prioritize ourselves with career, and we tend to kind of fall in love and get married and get all that stuff going on in the late 20s, early 30s, you know, the average individual. So we're only just kind of finding our identity, and then it's this, we're sharing an identity with somebody else. So what I love is people don't need to drastically change their situation, but they need to change their daily knowing and doing gaps, doing the things that they said they were going to do and they want to do. Now, why do people sabotage? Why do they not close that gap? Why is it not the most common thing? Like, maybe 5 years ago, I'd have walked into my garage and I'd have gone, oh my God, I have to clean the garage. Oh my God, I have to clean the garage. My garage, I clean it like every now and again. I just love tidiness and order. That was never me. I love my bedroom being tidy, my car being tidy, inside and out, valeted, like really clear and clean. I value what I put into my body. I don't go to the bar for a few Guinness as much anymore. So probably what I used to put over the bar counter, now I'm putting into, garden tools and things to keep the garden tidy, to keep the shed tidy, to keep the yard tidy. You start really prioritizing what you want more. And I think when people look at how much they have to change, it feels overwhelming. But what you actually got to do is just do one a day. You know, my wife's a vegetarian, but she taught me a very good saying, which is, how do you eat an elephant? Well, with one small bite at a time. If it feels so overwhelming, most people don't start. So this is why I love that Bob put the knowing and doing gap into the second lesson of the Get Into Results program. The first lesson, everyone's like, I'm in love. I've just got this program. I'm dreaming about my goals and I'm so happy. And then the very first lesson, or the very second lesson is, now I want you to look at a situation in your life that you're not happy with. It's like a mirror right up to your face. And you're like, oh, do I have to? Yes, you do, because you're probably here because of a certain level of dissatisfaction. So let's start getting that out. Let's get the dirty laundry out. We've got our goal, we've got our dream, we've got a purpose. We're going to start really prioritizing things, but we got to get rid of the junk. We got to really get rid of the bad habits. So you just start, how they start doing it is they start looking at the question in the worksheet is, think of a situation in your life that you're not getting the results that you want. So for me, yesterday, I did this lesson. Ahead of this lesson, I did it as we would with our clients. I haven't done it since March last year. I haven't done this lesson since March this year, pardon me. So think of any situation where you're not getting the results you want and describe it in as much detail as possible. So I moved from a marketing company in November to a new marketing company in December, and then their remit wasn't met, unfortunately, so we changed in March. They didn't do it either, so we had to change in April, May, or June or something like that, and we changed again. And we've got a wonderful new marketing team, and we're really excited and working with them, and really hoping we'll get there. But what I started to look at, I was like, I really am reliant on the marketing working. Like, that's really my problem here. So I started writing down, how does it make me feel? And it's better out than in, because I was getting frustrated. And I'm writing it down, and I'm like, I'm bright, I'm clever, I know how to do things. There can't be this little block in the pipe. Do you ever see the picture of the boy with his finger in the dam? It's like the only thing that's stopping this water is this little boy's finger. The only thing that's stopping the flow is my over-reliance on an external company. So I started saying, well, how can I change it through a variety of different marketing styles where we're not reliant on an external marketing company really doing their job brilliantly and attracting the right people at the right time? That's a long time. That's a knowing and doing gap. You shouldn't eat that cake. I know. Why did you eat it? Oh, I don't know. So I was just stuck in my own habits, just stuck in a habit of expecting the next team to be better than the previous one. And that's the way it was. So when I started writing it down, I was like, you big dumbass, I was like, jeepers, this is so obvious, and it's so misunderstood. It's so obvious. So now I started writing down in as much detail if the situation was totally clear and it was beautiful. So it was imaginative, it was fictitious, it was, how would I like it to be? It was a beautiful exercise. So when you compare the way it is, and it's not I'm not happy, I'm reading and I'm like, I don't like that. And then I look at, how do I want it to be? It's very simple. So you start writing down things we would call NPAs, non-productive actions or non-productive activities. So I suppose the most non-productive activity of that is to continue to live a life where my marketing for my company is solely responsible with an external team. Like, they've all been brilliant, and they're nice people, but if it didn't work, it didn't work. But I can do other things. I can do lives. I can say, I can do lives 3 times a day. I could go back and do my hotel seminars. I could, go on live with influencers. I could do affiliate marketing. There's tons of things I could do. And all those answers were there yesterday. All those answers were there August, July. All those answers had been there. But until I wanted to close that knowing and doing gap, until I started addressing the problem, the solution was not there. But we're so busy to sit down and look at the problem. Why do I buy gym membership? Why do I see other people are so disciplined? How come I'm not? You've never sat with that for long enough. That's why. You're in the habit of buying it, getting a little bit fired up. Maybe you put something on and it doesn't fit, or maybe you've felt a little bit self-conscious at the beach and you've been putting on a t-shirt over your swimsuit or whatever, and you're like, I don't want to be like this. I actually want to go, and I want to last the test of time, and I want to do it. Until there's something that's going to trigger you to really change, you generally don't. So that's why this is such a beautiful lesson, closing the knowing and doing gap. It's to stop talking about it and not doing it. Because I tell you what, if you don't stop this with everything, and I'm sure it's happening not just in one area of your life, you're eventually going to accept that that's just who you are. You're somebody who talks the talk and you don't walk the walk. And eventually you'll stop trying. And that's a kind of scary place to be. There's nothing wrong with wanting for more. It's the natural, normal order of things. Puppies become dogs, little chicks become chickens, and little tiny saplings. Our apple trees really took off this summer, but we grew every one of them from a seed that we germinated the seed in. So kitchen roll, put it in a pot, and we're growing the apple trees from zero. They thrived this year. They really took off. But that was a small plant becoming a big plant. It's a natural order of things. And if you're a human being, which I know you are, and it's normal and natural for you to want to grow and change. And then we have this really silly, it's wrong to want for more. I should be happy with what I've got. Yeah, be happy with what you've got, but a certain level of dissatisfaction is a lovely motivating factor. So when you're motivated and you want to do something, like, make sure that you get to the gym and you do all 12 sessions or 18 sessions or whatever it is that you've signed up for. If you decide to read a book a week, that you're going to read a book a week. If you decide that you're not going to, keep going out and having difficult relationships and, playing the field and all that, and you want to really settle down, then you got to really get focused on that, and you got to really sit down and work on that. Now, what starts to happen is, I'm going to give you the questions here. Think of a situation And this could be personal, professional, financial, relationship, your own body. It could be anything. It could be a marriage that's going through some difficulties. It could be anything. It only takes one person to make the change. Think of a situation where you're not getting the result you want. You can watch this replay back if you don't get the questions the first time. Think of a situation that you're not getting the result you want and describe it in as much detail. Now, this is where I'd say to my clients, if there's tears hitting that page, so what? Better out than in. You know, take some time on your own, go up to the bedroom, lock the door, and say, you know, mommy needs her own time, you know, daddy needs his own time, or whatever it may be. And just sit down and write about the situation and write about how it sucks and it's pissing you off and it's starting to take an effect on you. And I'm done with it. You know, really get it out of you onto paper. Then write about the opposite of that, and you are going to get really excited about it. Then you start listing all of the non-productive things that are contributing to the shitty situation, and you know the opposite of that is all you got to do. It is so simple. It sounds basic. It sounds simple. It is, but we don't. We're too busy. The minute we've a quick moment, it's what's on TikTok, what's on Instagram, what will I buy on ASOS or Karen Millen or whatever the vans bring to my house frequently. We've got a ton of things to do. Like this evening, it's been pick up the kids, you know, homework, dinner, drop the gymnastics. One's gone to a soccer match. Now when I finish my life, it's back out to tidy up, put away the bolognese and put away all the plates. And we're busy. We're all really, really busy. But we're going to keep being busy, flying around the place like flies banging off windows trying to get somewhere if we don't sit down and close the knowing and doing gap. I want you to spend tomorrow searching for knowing and doing gaps. I'm sick of looking at my office desk untidy. Say, you know, you just hold the phone. I'm not going to say it now because she'll actually respond, but you would say the name of your phone, you know, like rhymes with Miri, you know. Say, set my alarm, please, for 7 minutes. And just until that alarm goes off, tidy like a madman. Tidy that desk. Get it done. Get out into your shed, clean it. Go to your car, clean it. Whatever it is, do the attic, declutter it. You start to declutter your mind as well. I got tagged on a new business. A lady called Carmel tagged me on a new business she has, and it was about decluttering and cleaning. And we have a lady in our academy, Michelle Gilson, does it as well. It's brilliant to do that to your home, but it's good for your mind as well. Now, that's a good habit. Clean the sock drawer, get rid of the ones with the holes in them, get new ones the next day in Pennies or Dunn's or Brown Thomas, if that's the way you're inclined. Start getting used to seeking out knowing and doing gaps. You know what? I've got so many books started. I finished none of them. I'm going to put 7 of them away and pick one. And I'm going to not take another book off the shelf till this is finished. There's a reward, and your subconscious mind starts to get used to, oh, well, this is the way we are now. All right, because for me, for 35 years, this guy was all talk and dreams and ambition. But at 35, I'm 72. I'm not. I am. I've got some amazing moisturizer. It's available in my LinkedIn. It's not. I'm 42 in a couple of weeks' time, and at 35, I woke the hell up. Bob just came into my life via YouTube, and I got as much as I could from the free stuff, and then I had to invest in myself and get a coach and get taught his material and bloody well apply it to my life. So this is the second lesson I take clients through, what I've just showed you guys on Facebook tonight and on Instagram. And please, please, please don't just listen to another video and go, that's interesting, and slide on to the next one, some girl dancing on TikTok or something. Like, really start looking at this, really start closing that knowing and doing gap. You know, read that book till you've got to that back cover, and then put it away, and then start the next one. And your subconscious mind starts going, he used to talk about reading. He'd start 7 or 8 books and not finish them, but he's getting serious now. And it's like, oh, I feel good. We finished a book. And it starts to like what's good. When you start to change, your subconscious mind is like, no, we don't like this. Nah, sorry, we don't do this. So that sabotaging mechanism kicks in. Bob, as I said, we call it your paradigm. It kicks in. And it's like, sorry, I know you earned an extra 5,000 this year, but we have to find a way of getting rid of that. You know, people get inheritance and it's gone. They win the lottery and it's gone. You're set at so many of your habits are set at this thermometer level, this system level. As I said, your paradigm, thoughts, feelings, and actions, your rituals, your standards, they're just set. You never asked for them. You never did a certificate on how to have my level at a level I don't want. This is how you change that level. And I promise you, when you start to level up, something's going to hit you like, who do you think you are? Something's going to knock you down with, and it's usually our own inner workings of our mind. What about if I buy that car? What will the neighbors say? If I get, they think if I change my life, am I going to lose my friends? If you're feeling encouraged to do something different, It is so not that complicated. Look at how basic this lesson is. Describe in detail a situation you're not happy with. Your body, your rituals, your relationships, your marriage, your money, whatever. Write it down in all its horribleness, how it's making you feel. I'm sick of it. I'm fucking done with it. Write it down. Then write the opposite, how life can be. And you start looking at what you're doing to contribute to the one that you don't like, and then say, I wonder how much it's going to take to change. And you will find it is tiny margins. I'll leave you with this story. I like golf. I like, what is it? I can't think of a funny saying about it, but anyway, it's like, yeah, it's something like life gets in the way of my golf habit or something like that. I don't know what the funny saying is, but I really love golf, playing it and watching it, and practicing it and the whole thing. But there's a moment when the fat face of that driver, let's say that's the driver, that's the club face of the driver, when that hits the golf ball, and if it's only a couple of millimeters left or right, it's going to start slicing. So if you slice it, you hook it. I'm a lefty, so when I hook it, it'll go out straight and it'll hook off to the left of the fairway. Maybe one of my partners that I'm playing with is right-handed, and he might slice the other way. We might have just struck our balls, our golf balls, a little half a millimeter either side. But the differential, like 200 yards down the fairway, means I'm way over on one side and he's 100 yards away from me on the other side. That small little difference right back at the tee box makes all the difference further down the fairway. That is literally how one's life changes when they really start studying and applying personal development with proper coaching, mentorship, guidance, support, discipline, accountability. The little tiny margins you make every day and the rewards that you give yourself, that's down the line. You will, like Bob says on the first lesson, you're going to need a telescope to look back and see how far you've come. And that's the truth. We did a beautiful lady called Sarah commented this week. I love that because there's a lot of people that never met her, don't know her, they're new clients. And she posted this big long checklist of all the things she's done since she gave this opportunity to herself, since she invested in herself and started studying and applying it. Studying is great, but applying it, doing the thing. It is minimal, small actions every day. So I want you to start that tomorrow. Start it tonight. Clean off your desk. When you're shutting down the laptop, take the cups and the plates with you that you might have brought to the office. Throw out the waste paper basket. It'll take a half a second. Put your clothes at the end of the bed tonight that you want to wear tomorrow. Put your towel and whatever, your loofah, whatever it is you use, have that ready to go. So when you get up in the morning, get into the shower, get out, get dressed, and just that half an hour to sit down tomorrow, maybe comment on the chat, say, Jesus, Declan, the amount of free time I had today. Thank you for that. If your effectiveness goes up marginally every day, you have no idea where it's going to take you. And that becomes your new habit. Sabotage could be a habit right now, which is not your fault. Not your fault. You never, ever asked to be trained at that habit. You just inherited it. But you may not be responsible for the bad habits you have right now, but you are the only one responsible for changing it. And you change those habits, you will change your life. And it is not poppycock, internet, scammy stuff. It is real transformational stuff. Okay? Not that hard. Okay? And there's a lot of people in this beautiful country of ours. I'm mainly, I think, talking to Irish people on both streams. So this is not something that is American or Canadian or Australian. There's thousands of, in fact, in Ireland, 3 of the top 7 consultants teaching this are in Ireland: Belfast, Dublin, and Kerry. That's out of about nearly 3,000 consultants worldwide. So there's a lot of clients, there's a lot of people in this country learning this and applying it. So you really need to start thinking about, if you want to make the change, let's start having a conversation about that. Send me a DM, click on the link below, or type in the comments on Facebook, whatever it is. Say, hey, Declan, yeah, let me talk to one of your team. I want to find out more, and we'll make that happen. So thank you so much. I know that name. Shelley, how are you? Broadway's Darling. Hello, Broadway's Darling. Caroline Jordan, thank you. Hey, Magella. Hi, Dr. Shelley, lovely lady. Johnny Mitchell, how's it going, my man? I hope you're well. Good to see your name. Rima, how is it going, Rima? Hey, Kevin, Prima Build. He's a legend. How are you, bud? John, good. Okay. Be applying all the time. It can be you. Sorry, Deadly Crack. I don't know what you said there, but thank you for your comment. Hello, Kim. Kevin Moore, how's it going, bud? Hope you're well. Thanks for your messages the last day. They were great. I hope everything worked out for you. Deadly Crack says, long live the king. Well, thank you very much. Was I singing Elvis, or do you mean Charles III? And let's see over here. Somebody said, great reminder, Declan. Someone said, Declan is amazing and has helped me so much just listening to his wisdom. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Mom, I owe you a tenner. I don't know who said that. I'm sorry. It doesn't show me their name. It doesn't show me your name, but I really appreciate your comments. And thank you for that. It wasn't my mom, I promise. All right, everybody. She can't use Facebook, so it's definitely not my mom. So thanks for watching. I'll be back here again next Wednesday. And keep an eye on my Insta stories. And as I said, if you have any questions, Broadway's darling. Hey, cool. Excellent stuff. All right, everybody. Lots of love. Take care. I will talk to you soon. And close the knowing and doing gap. Right now, the minute you're finished this, start looking at something that you can do. Take action on it. Count to 60 and you'll have it done. And you'll feel good. And then that becomes your new habit. Closing the knowing and doing gaps every day will change your life. Goodbye. Talk to you soon.